Welcome. This is EdListen, episode 2, the $249 Chromebook and upcoming conferences. Recorded October 19th, 2012. Welcome, everybody. I have a little bit of a scratchy voice. I kind of lost my voice on Monday, and it's still kind of coming back. And I am joined by Andy.
Hi, BJ. Thank you.
Okay, well, what I wanted to talk about today was yesterday Google and Samsung announced a new Chromebook. And in the past, they've had their Chromebooks, and they've been around the $500, the $450 price point. At MSJ, where I also work, I bought 19 of them for our one-to-one program, and I've loved it. I went from out of the box to in the hands of the students in about 2 hours for all 19 of these things. And that's with me recording, and I spent most of the time just kind of recording the, the serial numbers for inventory reasons. So really great tool. Your school does need to have already a culture of using Google Apps before you bring these into the school system. But they're very low maintenance. But there's always been that air of, okay, I'm spending $500 for a device that only has internet access. And a lot of people, that's a hard bite to bullet. So they have just released a new one out there, and it's $249. And if you are in a school system, you'll probably want to get the management, which is just a flat $30 one-time fee, so that you can manage them within the school system. So $249. I have not had one to play with, but I jumped on Engadget and a few other places, and basically they said it works like a Chromebook. Nothing really fancy around there. It looks like a Apple clone with the keyboard and the type of mouse. They don't say it's as good as the Apple mouses and keyboards, but it looks very similar. And little bit underpowered, but that was from someone who was a very big power user who was talking about having 15, 20 different internet tabs open, which can pretty much kill any computer nowadays. So the new Chromebook's out, which I am excited to play with, and definitely at the price point of $250, and it's really hard to go wrong. There's very little maintenance with it. Let's see. Oh, we have Profe. If you remember from last week, he is going Rochester Rockets. We have to say go for the soccer team. Yeah. And
the Rockets play. I believe they play Cabot today in the senior night, which is the last home game for our varsity boys, our senior boys. So good luck, Rockets.
And good luck, Profe. He was on last week. Okay, so where was I? I was talking about the Chromebook, the management, and great device. I've been very happy with them. I mean, we've only been using them a few months at MSJ, but the management and my time that it takes to work with these has gone down dramatically compared to my last 2 years. So I'm very happy with my purchase, and I'm looking forward to having that lower price point for next year.
Sounds like a great opportunity to really outfit a school with the tools you want to have in the 21st century learning environment to enhance their education and really give them the tools that they need to be successful. In a smaller, less urban area, I think you've got some dilemmas with Chromebooks from an internet piece, so internet connection idea, but. In a setting where internet connectivity is not an issue, the Chromebook seemed like a really viable way to very economically get a one-to-one program going in a school.
Yeah, and they have some offline support, and I've had to play with this at MSJ a little bit, but it's not something I've had to extensively play with. So if you are listening to this and you do have some Chromebooks, please, I'd love to hear back. Especially in those less urban areas, so the more rural areas where there's not so much internet access, how are they working out? So, because Rochester and Bethel and this whole school system that we're working at now, and We're looking at one-to-one, but I think we went with Windows machines. With empowerment, one of the big major choices of that was because there's places in in the towns that is still on dial-up as the only mean for internet.
Right. We definitely have pockets of our population who are not going to have reliable, if any, internet access.
Yeah. So if you have some more experience with the offline support, please let me know about the show. One of the next things I wanted to talk about was some upcoming conferences that are coming. And let's just talk about the Vermont one. So you want to talk about Vermont Fest?
Sure. Vermont Fest, annual conference sponsored by an organization called VitalLearn, and I think they're connected to the Vermont Department of Education as well, or at least co-sponsored by the Vermont DOE. Vermont Fest is November 7th, 8th, and 9th, and it's housed at the Killington Grand in Killington, Vermont. It starts on Wednesday with some pre-conference sessions, mostly focused on iPad deployments and the use of iPads in the classroom and the tech support needed for iPads and the learning environment to be successful with iPads. That's really a big focus on the Wednesday pre-conference sessions. Thursday and Friday, there are numerous workshops throughout the day focused on a series of strands. The strands are on the edge, elementary integration, gaming, programming, and more, tools for teachers, business school connections, in the know, and on the move. So there's just a series of workshops dealing with smart boards and iPads and iBooks and problem solving and new technology that schools may not have been exposed to yet, and other tablets beyond iPads.
Speaking of which, I heard a rumor that the Android Nexus, Amazon might throw that out for $100 for the Christmas season.
Wow, I'm not overly familiar with the Android products, but that sounds like a pretty good deal compared to some of the prices that you see for iPads and iPhones and things like that.
Yeah, that's the one my wife uses constantly, and I'm looking forward to the district here maybe getting me an iPad. So people who follow me know I'm not the biggest person, not the biggest Mac follower, but I'm looking forward to having one to really play with it and see how it compares. Yeah, and actually at Vermont Fest, I'm going to be there on Thursday. Come check me out. I'm doing a basic Google Docs presentation there. And I've been going to this conference for quite a while. I don't think I've actually paid to go to the conference. I've always presented and just kind of gotten that free day. But I love going to it, and I don't ever attend any of the sessions. I'm the worst person to go to a conference because I'm always just walking around, but I'll stay out in the hallway and I'll have the best conversations with people. And it's the people you connect with. And it's one of the reasons why I like presenting at these things and why I like doing the podcast. I learn more by presenting. People come up to me and it starts out these great conversations about ideas they have that I sparked in them or what they're doing or how it's just amazing the type of tools that you get.
I would argue that the networking you can do at a conference like that is probably as important, if not more important, than the actual conference presentations you go to. Sometimes that 10-minute conversation you have in the hallway or over lunch or over a cup of coffee in the afternoon or something, those times are just incredibly invaluable to educators who are trying new products or trying new ideas in their classroom or as administrators trying to implement a new program. Catching somebody who has done it in their school is just hugely important to have that conversation. And sometimes those conferences are the only opportunities you get to actually connect and network with those people. So that's really valuable time.
Yeah, I love the social networking part of it. It's part of my personal learning network, and it will always be part of my personal learning network. Blah, 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 blah. Okay.
Can I bring attention to one more workshop at Vermont Fest? I'd like to, maybe this is a plug for a good friend of mine, Igniting the Passion for STEM. Greg Young will be providing that workshop on Friday, and Greg is a pre-tech program teacher up in the Lamoille Supervisory Union, and he will be providing a workshop on Friday at Vermont Fest called Igniting the Passion for STEM. Sounds like a really great opportunity for math science teachers to see what opportunities there are in the STEM field for their classrooms.
Yeah, I've been working with the Math and Science Partnership Grant for the Southwest region, so STEM has been a real big part of that, although I'm blanking on what STEM actually stands for.
Science, technology, engineering, and math.
Nice.
So it's a big element of the Common Core is really STEM-related lessons and units and skills and whatnot. So would be a good workshop to attend if you are at Vermont Fest.
Nice, great recommendation. So we're booking you on Thursday with mine, and with the STEM one on Friday. And if you're interested in iPads, well, actually, probably the Wednesday ones are already full.
Yeah, most of the Wednesday ones are full because the really nice feature about the Wednesday pre-conference sessions is they give you an iPad at some of them for registering. Obviously, there's a fee for registering, but they come with iPads, so those fill up pretty quickly. But as an iPad user myself, who just have really become I don't want to say reliant on it, but maybe I do a little bit want to say that. It's a pretty important tool that I use on a daily basis, and I really value the ability that I have with the iPad and the learning that I can do and the management I can do and the organization that I can do with the iPad. So, some of the workshops I'm looking at for the Vermont Fest, there's many that are focused on iPad use and in classrooms and for administrators and for teachers and for teaching with your students too.
Yeah, this is going to be hard because I'm going to have to bite the bullet and say, because I've never been the iPad user. I've been Android and pushing Android, and I'm looking forward to playing with it and learning more about it because it's here. Whether you like it or not, the iPads, the iDevices are here. They're in education, and they're here to stay.
At one of the future podcasts, if BJ invites me back, hopefully he will. But at a future time, we've talked about doing an iPad app discussion from an educational use perspective, and that'll be something we'll do at some point down the road.
Well, I'm hoping to also there's some great people to interview that with the iPad. So when we do that one, we'll try and actually make it into an interview.
That'd be great.
Okay, and I want to talk about a couple other things. There is an EDU on Air conference, and I don't have my show notes in front of me, so I'm going to have to go by memory. I wasn't able to get the computer online that I normally use. Well, the EDU on Air conference, this is the second one that they've had. And the first one actually stemmed from an idea I gave to the education person. I actually pitched the idea of this originally to Google, and they took it and they ran with it. And last year, the EDU on Air conference was all in one day. They had 40 presenters. It was one day. Google had someone join in with the conference, and it was a real big day. It was a real fun day, and it was all online. So this is a completely free conference. It is completely online. If there's any presentations that you would want, you can join. You can request to join the actual Hangout, which there are 9 slots per presentation, or you can just watch it live, and unlimited people can watch it live. And all of them do get recorded to YouTube, so you can even watch it in the end, at the end too.
So BJ, is that like one site you would go to and then make choices about which presentations and workshops to view?
Yeah, if you, I'll put it in the show notes, but it's the EDU on Air website. I'm sure if you search for EDU on Air, you will come right up with it. And this year they switched it up a little bit, so it's not not one single day. It's sporadic, and I think they have over 100 presenters. So 100 people have put in submissions to have their presentations presented, and it's using the Google Hangout technology, which is part of their Google Plus social network. It's kind of like an alternative to Facebook. And with their Hangouts, you can have up to 9 people with video all talking back and forth. It's something I'm looking forward. It's one of the ways I used to do the show live.
Oh, that sounds like a great tool that eventually, when maybe it gets a little more in the mainstream, if you will, sounds like a great tool. The Google Hangouts piece sounds like a great tool for schools, especially in rural Vermont here where we're sitting. For me to get several teachers, several administrators, possibly a few community members together in one room sometimes is incredibly challenging. So Google Hangouts sounds like a really good opportunity to utilize the technology we have to bring people together for a meeting in a virtual fashion and be more productive, I think, as opposed to spending hours trying to schedule the meeting, which sometimes is what happens.
Yeah, it's coming to K-12. It's not there yet. They're really working out some of the legal issues around it so that it is safe for under 13-year-olds to be able to use this too. And yeah, it is great. You can share your computer screen, all kinds of fun stuff on that one.
When it gets to a point of being, I'll use the word sophisticated enough. I don't know if that's the right tech word, but when it gets to the point that it's really ready for the educational setting and student use, I mentioned just a moment ago for the administrators and teachers to use, I could really see us using something like that in the educational setting to get kids collaborating with each other, project work. The learning doesn't necessarily stop when the bell rings at 3 o'clock with a program like that.
Yeah, it's coming. And I'm actually doing I did 5 of them last year, and I'm only doing 1 of them this year. But I'm doing something called a classroom model, and I've created a program called G-Class Folders. It's actually a script. It's just a Google spreadsheet. You can actually search for it if you go into the template gallery in Google. And what it does is it creates a folder structure that you can use with your students, and it automatically sets up all the sharing. So it creates a class edit, a class view, and student Dropboxes. And Dropboxes, it's just the label I use. A lot of people get mixed up about that. It's not the Dropbox.com program or a separate program. It's just, I call it a Dropbox. It's the folder that's just shared between the student and the teacher. And I have found that it really helps with classroom organization in just a workflow in the classroom and using Google Apps, and really saves a lot. And the teachers who have adopted it have really just adopted it and thanked me for the fact that it is much more organized than they have used in the past. So my presentation is going to be October 23rd, Tuesday, October 23rd at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can, I'll put the link to my Google Plus profile, but that's where you will be clicking on to either watch it live. If you want to join me, I think I have about 3 people in that's wanting to come on to the Hangout with me already. So I have some slots open. If you actually want to join me with the Hangout, please just email me. I would be happy to do that for you.
So BJ, when people log in, what are they going to see? And when I say that, I don't mean the content, but what's the setting for you to be? Are you at a smartboard? Are you?
They will see my head.
Okay.
In front of a microphone.
Okay.
And I will be able to share my computer screen.
Okay.
So the people will be able to see my computer screen, and it uses YouTube. So you go to my profile, and there's this play button, and it's exactly like you're watching a YouTube video. It's just live, and with being live, you can chat. Mm-hmm. So you can enter comments right on most likely on that stream, and with the EDU on Air series, there's usually a Google moderator that's actually watching that live stream. So even if you are watching it and not in the Hangout, you can ask questions and contribute, and those questions will get to me, and I can even answer them.
Sounds great.
So, and there's also usually a back channel conversation that stems from these. So, I'm talking about one thing, and everybody who's listening to me or even have a second conversation going on. So it's an amazing experience, and I'm looking forward to presenting on there and even attending some of these. I think there's one other one that I had on my list, and that is the New England Google Summit. And that's happening in Burlington, Massachusetts on the 3rd and the 4th. And I'll put out the link to it. And there are 3 educators from Vermont that are going to be presenting there. I'm unfortunately going to be working. And then there's another one. Vermont Fest is like the following week. But that is going to be one amazing summit. And I've done stuff in Burlington, Massachusetts. They're a great place to have a conference. It's at most likely at the high school there. And they actually are a school that went one-to-one with iPads and also launched Google Apps at the same time. And if you followed me on the Google Weekly podcast when I was doing that one, I had a student on a regular basis that was from Burlington. I got to touch base with him, see how he's doing. That kind of talked about his experiences, and he was a real big Google person. He actually wasn't as much of a fan on the iPad. He wound up bringing in his own Android tablet because it was more compatible with Google. But he was also on the tech team that kind of helped everybody launch it, and he had some really good, honest student perspective insight, which I don't think we get very often.
We don't. It's sometimes the missing component of our work to implement certain programs or initiatives is the student voice. One of the things we're trying to do here in Rochester is really solicit student voice to get them involved more in their own education and in making decisions with their own education. I'll put a shameless plug in here for an organization called YATS, a Vermont organization that stands for Youth and Adults Transforming Schools Together. And they do a series of conferences and workshops with students throughout the school year. And it's teams of students working with trained adults to really develop transformation policies and transformation practices within their schools, and bringing back that information that they've picked up at the conference, bringing it back into their schools, and putting some practices in place. So that's really important to have that student input to those changes that we're trying to make in education these days.
Oh, that's great. And I'll put that into the show notes as well. And if you could write it actually on the show note list so I remember, that would be great. One last thing about the New England Summit, if I have a promo code, if you email me directly, I can give it to you for a discount if you're interested. And one of the last things is a discussion topic around each show that you can discuss either in the comment section of the show or by emailing or within the social network or however else. And I was thinking about what to put out here, and this show goes out worldwide, and I would love to hear about your conferences. So if you have a conference, that was a long pause. So if you have a conference that you know about and that you would like to mention, please add it to the comments. If I see it going there, even if you listen to this show a year from now and you know about some conferences, go ahead and add them in, and I will talk about it on the latest show, because I think conferences are a very important part of creating a professional development, and a big part of what I'm trying to do with this show. Also, I have set up a Google Voice number. So, and unfortunately, I don't have my show notes in front of me, so I don't have the phone number in front of me to plug it. But it is on the website. It is a phone number you can call and leave a voicemail, and that phone number can get put out on the web. Or it leaves a voicemail, and I will take that voicemail and I'll play it on the web. If you don't want it played on the web, please let me know right at the beginning of the website. And that phone number, thank you, Andy.
You're welcome.
802-772-0855. It doesn't mean anything. I couldn't come up with a good combination when I was looking for numbers.
I'm not sure.
But 802-772-0855. You call that, you can leave a voicemail, and that voicemail can be, played on the EdListen podcast. So I want to say thank you, Andy.
You're very welcome. Glad to be here.
Cool. Do you want to read that extra closing remarks?
I can do that. Closing remarks. Thank you for listening to the EdListen podcast with your host, Bjorn Berendt. You can follow the podcast. And Andy West. You can follow the podcast and contribute by going to www.edlisten.com. Follow me on Twitter, Facebook, and Google.
And Google Plus is where I normally live, so contact me through that if you can. So
there's the phone number again, 802-772-0855. So that phone number is Google Voice, and that allows you to leave a voice message. So if they have commentary and they don't want to type it in, they can leave a voice message there. And
if they want to get their voice on the air, that's how they can do it.
Very cool.
So again, you also, if you're on a social network, the hashtag EdListen, please use that. And thank you for listening, and never stop learning.